Ocean City Code tweaked for cannabis dispensary regulations. This is by Bethany Hopper, associate editor of the OceanCityToday.com. Hot off the press here within the last 24 hours. On Monday, the Ocean City Council approved the first reading of two ordinances addressing cannabis and cannabis dispensaries within municipal limits. The vote comes less than a month after the Ocean City Planning Commission agreed to forward the changes to the council with a favorable recommendation. During the 2024 session, the Maryland General Assembly adopted House Bill 805, which clarified the authority of the jurisdictions to impose certain distance requirements for cannabis-related businesses. Simply put, the legislation allows the town of Ocean City to adopt code language to prohibit a licensed cannabis dispensary from being located within 100 feet of any residential zone, 500 feet of any pre-existing school, child care facility, public park, playground, recreation center, library, or place of worship, or 1,000 feet or up to a half a mile away from any other cannabis dispensary. In June, a proposed code amendment stating as much was brought to the Planning Commission for review. And in July, following public hearing, the commission voted to advance a favorable recommendation to the mayor and council, but with an amendment to allow operating hours between 8 a.m. and 11 p.m. or the hours allowed under state law. Back on the agenda this week, the council voted 6-0 with Councilwoman Carol Proctor absent. Carol show up for work to adopt the code amendment on first reading with no discussion. This incorporates the zoning regulations for cannabis and cannabis dispensaries, City Solicitor Heather Stansbury told the council. The council this week also voted to pass the first reading of a companion ordinance to amend several sections of the town code for the regulation of cannabis products and cannabis consumption. The changes as proposed would prohibit the consumption of cannabis while riding or transporting horses to and from the beach. Adds reference to cannabis dispensaries and micro dispensaries as licensed occupants, prohibits the sale or consumption of cannabis products in dry nightclubs, and prohibits the advertising of cannabis products on taxi cabs, amongst other things. So this is Yarrow Kubrin, High at 9 News. Let me kick this off real quick. Let me tell you why I covered it. I am not mad at some of these distance setback requirements, which are really cut and paste from other markets, and which, while prohibitive, because that can really eliminate a lot of otherwise eligible properties for cannabis dispensaries, at least is consistent and not less restrictive than what we've seen in other markets. So I appreciate cities coming up with something that they believe has already worked. And I want to remind cities, the most important thing is not just the rules and regs you make, but how quickly you process permits. Time is money. This is Yarrow Kubrin, High at 9 News.
Land use requirements is kind of, it's like this. It's what they are.
It's a little dry, but it's important, right? And so when we think about these requirements in certain markets, we also need to understand the limitations of these requirements in densely populated urban areas like New York City. Mm-hmm. Those radiuses become impractical when you're talking about high density residential and commercial.
You are 100% right about that, and oftentimes I've always told municipalities that what they need to put in there is incorporated as a walking distance radius as opposed to just a general circumference radius.
And while I'm not a big fan of overregulation, I'm actually not upset at the idea that they're banning consuming cannabis while riding a horse. That kind of makes a little sense to me. Both hands on the reins, motherfucker.
Man, but you're not driving. You're riding it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you can get a DUI on a bicycle, a horse, a lawnmower.
No. You can get a DUI driving. You're not driving when you are riding a horse. It's called riding a horse.
Yeah, and being from Virginia, my country boy coming out of me, a lot of my friends do have horses, and they ride these horses because they've gotten DUI.
And I think in a legal definition, I'm not sure, but as far as driving is concerned, that is in relation with a motor vehicle. They don't consider they don't consider it the same thing.
But it's crazy how your
Los
motor vehicle
Angeles
can have a
DUI
certain...
attorney. Since horses are considered vehicles, riding while intoxicated can be interpreted as operating a vehicle
Right on.
under the influence, similar to driving a car.
Jason, your horse...
I just pulled Jason's horse right out from under him.
Your motor vehicle is judged by the
Has anyone ever been to Ocean City, Maryland?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think people ride around on horses in Ocean
horsepower.
City.
That's true.
What's that, Dr. Mark?
People don't ride around on horses in Ocean City, Maryland. They just don't.
They don't?
No, they shoot the horse they rode on.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's not nice,
But
Yarrow.
it's not too
Hey, but
far
if it's
from
dead, you still
Chesapeake
beating it.
Island, which has got wild horses.
Speaking of
Wow.
not nice, this is True Confession Friday. If you can get a DUI for riding a lawnmower while intoxicated, I am guilty as charged.
Man,
We know that.
That is crazy. That is crazy that you can get a DUI for riding a horse. I'm shocked by that. I just got a new wrinkle in my brain.
Well, good.
man.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Jenny.
Yeah, I got you, friend.
Much appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Horsepower.
Fair enough.
Horsepower.
Yeah, I think that's why it is. It's all because of horsepower. I
Well,
agree with that.
horses
Rico.
used to pull buggies, and then we advanced to cars, so horsepower would be a reasonable way to quantify it, right?
Well, horsepower is reasonable because that's how they quantify strength of engines.
I mean, is it a Mustang or is it a Clydesdale?